after 15 to 20 years, you've really limited your knowledge to that industry. That went over some of your head, because so many of y'all will say, I want to start in the HR industry. HR is not an industry. HR is a career field. When you're at one place or one industry for 15 to 20 years, your variety is limited, child. Your variety just ain't there. Hey y'all, this is Tamika, the face behind Heyyy HR, and I am going to tell you when it's time to just go ahead and change that company, change the role, find a new job. So many times we get so confused. Like, we keep saying, they're promising me this, they're promising me that. They said they're gonna give me a promotion, they're gonna create a position. They said that I would have gotten a pay increase and I didn't get it. They told me to just be patient. And so many times there's really not that company where we should stay. And so this video is to tell you all about when it's time to either quit that company and find a new company to work for, or change that role. Now it's time for you to elevate to the next level in your career. If you want to know what are the signs that you should go ahead and move on, then definitely keep watching. So this video is like all my opinion. I didn't do any research for it, but I will tell you, when you start getting in that 3 to 5 year range, it's definitely time to change either that company or that role. Specifically for HR, and when you get to being with a company for 3 to 5 years, then you've gone through so many different things that you need to know. So you've done several different open enrollments, you've done several different merit increases, you've done several different performance reviews, you've done so many things that are done annually. So you don't get a ton of experience with this, right? If you only doing it one time per year, when you're doing open enrollment or performance reviews or merit increases, things that are typically annual processes, or most companies go for annual, because obviously we like merit and performance to be more often, but most companies go for that annual review, that annual increase. They definitely only gonna have one open enrollment for benefits per year. When you've gone through a few of those, you've had enough experience in it that you have even identified areas that would be wrong. You've seen ways to pivot. You've done pivots and seen the changes from those. You have totally seen where there are different options for different things that you can use. You've seen technology grow with these different things. You probably implemented some new things that you didn't use before. When you found yourself get that much experience, 3 to 5 years of that experience, then you're a really solid professional. You have not only gone through those annual things, but obviously you've gone through some performance improvement throughout the year. You've gone through some career development throughout the year. You've done several different workers' comp claims. You've done several different FMLA processes, leave of absences. You've also seen what minor things look like what does it look like for address changes for this company, particularly if it's a company where employees are located in several different states. You have also worked and developed relationships with different leaders, so you know how to really make that professional relationship grow. You know how to become a go-to person for them. You probably have even learned how I can make a relationship that's not going well get better, because you've done some changes with that over time. And so by this time, you really have some really good measurements that you can put in your PAR method when you're doing your bullet points or things to talk about in your interviews. PAR method is seeking out whatever is that problem, finding an action to correct that problem, and what was the result from that problem. And so you've gone through several of those. Your resume definitely can use some beefing up. I want you to always keep track of what you're doing all year long, so that you don't get confused, like, what did I do 2 years ago? And how did I get here 4 years now? You do so much annually, specifically in HR, that sometimes we can forget. So I always encourage everyone, just keep like a separate notebook, even a separate document where you're constantly like writing down those things that you've done, so that you never forget what you've done, and then you can see the growth in your career too. And when you get to a place where this job is kind of getting boring, it's getting tiring, you've done it enough, you feel like you're becoming repetitious, those are all signs that it's time to move into a new position or a new company. And obviously, when it's time to move, you got to make sure that you know you're more valuable than you were 3 to 5 years ago. So your pay increase should be higher. You're like, well, Tamika, I'm kind of comfortable with my pay is now. Yeah, but your skills have grown past where your comfort level is, so you should be requesting a higher salary. Now, on the flip side of things, when we get to that point where we're at a company for 15, 20 years, and there's several downfalls to that. People are like, well, what's bad about that? Especially our baby boomers, like my mom's generation and older. Oh, you guys plop around from job to job. Oh, you guys don't stay on a job long enough. Well, there are a lot of things now that are changing. Technology is new. It wasn't big when my mother was out there working. It wasn't big when baby boomers were out working. And so now, because of technology, things move a lot more rapid. And so you can kind of get stagnant into a position. Your skill set can kind of dwindle or stay at a plateau, which isn't elevating if you stay at a company for 15 to 20 years. When you've worked at one company for 15 to 20 years, we think we know HR when we know HR for that company. We know HR for that industry. We know HR for that location because we've done it 15 to 20 years for that place. We don't have a variety of skills where we can easily pivot. Sometimes it's hard for us to think out of the box of how to fix things. We get into a position where we think, oh, we done been doing this for 15 years. There ain't nothing else we can do. When there's like 20 things you can do, but you've been there for 15 to 20 years and you've gotten kind of in that rut where you think nothing can change. You've learned personalities over this time and you know that this person gonna give you a block every time, when in actuality, they're giving you a block because you give them the same result or the same question or the same request every time because you're used to that company alone. After 15 to 20 years, you've really, really limited your knowledge to that industry. That went over some of your head because so many of y'all will say, I want to start in the HR industry. HR is not an industry. HR is a career field. An industry is about retail. Maybe you're talking about the automotive industry. Maybe you're talking about the tech industry. The industry is a cloud of work in one area of expertise. HR is a career field. It's not an industry. And when you have only worked 15 to 20 years in the healthcare industry, you only know HR in healthcare. You don't know what HR is like working in the media industry. You don't know what it's like working in the automotive industry. You don't know what it's like working in retail. You don't know what it's like working in tech. You don't know what it's like working in customer service HR. You only know what's going on in the healthcare industry. Now things are different. Requirements are different. You look at different regulations and it's just not the same for every single industry. So when you stay in one industry for 15 to 20 years, that really can dampen your career. Back in the day when I started my career, I always wanted to work in the health field before I started HR. So I thought health field was a good place for me to go because I felt like I had transferable skills. So I went to one job. My career started off in local government, and then I went over to the health field. Then my next job was the health field. Then I realized, Mika, you only know health field HR. You only know local government HR. So I'm like, okay, now I want to do something else. And so I went into more of the rental space in HR. And then I said, okay, I want to do something different. I've always wanted to work in tech. And so now I work in tech HR. I know different levels of HR, different industries, different positions, different titles, different company makeups, different org charts, different leaders, different stakeholders, different types of employees. And so that's what you want to do, is have a variety in your career. When you're at one place or one industry for 15 to 20 years, your variety is limited, child. Your variety just ain't there. And you want variety because that's what makes you competitive for other opportunities. That's the thing that kills you when you go out and you apply for a job and you apply for this job and you apply for that job and you get the same rejections over and over and over. And now you feel like,
they didn't even look at my resume because I got that rejection too quick.
They don't even give me a response because I'm ghosted.
it's sad that they're not telling you no. So many companies have a bad thing of not just going out and giving an applicant an update of a no. I ain't got no problem sending you a rejection email. I try to make it catered for the position, but when you're sending out 500 rejections per week, how many times we gonna cater that to one person, somebody we don't know, we never met, we just know they don't have the skill set that we're looking for. They don't have the expertise that we're looking for. So we get aggravated with these rejections when it's really is that we're kind of dampened our career. We really need to look at other ways to kind of pivot into a new industry or figure out how to make that resume not look so catered to that industry. It's difficult when you've been at a company for 15 to 20 years. Applying is different. Just going out and job searching is different. It's different when you have not done anything except that industry for that company for 15 to 20 years. Child, the world look like a whole new place. You feel like you just step out of prison for 15 to 20 years. So you definitely have even more downfalls. I hate to be the person to tell you, but there are more. Most times, you've had that same resume for 15 to 20 years. You didn't realize that through this time period, you should have been tracking your achievements, or you should have been periodically updating your resume, even if you had no interest to apply somewhere else. So now that you are like, okay, I'm over it. I want to go work somewhere else. I want to do something else. The only thing you have is that resume, and that resume is not speaking to where your skill set is now. It's not speaking to what the new recruiters, new positions are looking for, new business strategies are looking for, and now your resume is pigeonholing you. Again, getting you rejection after rejection. You have to know how to cater that resume, how to beef it up, how to think out of the box with it, how to make it stand out from these other 300 candidates that just applied last night. Now, some of the things that can help you, because that's a shit ton of downfalls. But I want to tell you, there's some things that can help you. If you've been with the same company or the same industry for 15 to 20 years, there's some things that really can help you. A lot of people don't know it because they've been there for 15 to 20 years that they don't even acknowledge it. So if you've changed a job title, you might be like, Tamika, that's not a promotion. They just slide me into another department. Listen, you can make it look like a promotion on your resume, because you've learned a new skill set, actually. Even if you didn't get more money, you've learned something different. Everything's not gonna always be the same. Like, it's just not. Sometimes we don't know how to highlight those career changes, those career pivots, those promotions within that company or that industry that we've been in for 15 to 20 years. So that's one thing that really can help you, is a job title change, maybe having an increased number of direct reports, maybe even having more stakeholders that you're speaking to, maybe taking on some challenges from other people, maybe training others. We miss those things when we've been there for 15 to 20 years because it just feels like it's the job that we're supposed to do. But those are the things that can help you. Those are the things you want to put on your resume. Those are the things you want to talk to. Another thing is unexpected pivots. Maybe the company decided in this 15 to 20 years that they're going to change their org structure, or they're going to change their business strategy, or they're going to change whatever. So many times we get caught up in the fact that we don't want this change, that we don't realize that we're being exposed to a new skill set that we absolutely can use to get a new opportunity, to definitely put on our resume, to definitely speak to in interviews, to definitely speak to in networking events. We really get kind of pigeonholed into,
Oh, they changing. Why are they changing? We've been doing this for 10 years and it really worked. And da da da.
and we forget that when we move and we pivot with the company, we're learning more, we're expanding our reach more, we're getting more skills, we're getting more exposure. And then we also don't realize that there's an advantage that we can take with uncontrollables. Maybe you've worked with the same CEO, the same leadership team for 12 of those 15 years, and now you had to get acclimated to new stakeholders. Maybe you had to kind of introduce them to some things. Maybe you had to tell them some historical knowledge of things they didn't know. And we miss that opportunity to beef that on our resume. We miss that opportunity to talk about it in interviews. We miss that opportunity to talk about it in elevator pitches whenever we're networking. And now we look like we've grown in our career in all 15 of those years. Now, I've literally saved the absolute best for last, because one huge problem, or a bit of an unknown that so many people don't know, is when you work for the same company for 15 to 20 years, a lot of times what you do is you don't realize that you're severely underpaid. Most times they already have a pay scale. This is what they're paying you on. A lot of times people don't update that pay scale. It's not expected to really update the pay scale any sooner than 3 to 5 years anyhow. So that pay scale's only been updated 3 different times. It's probably not gonna change drastically because the company has a budget on what they're gonna pay for salary. And as a result, we're super underpaid. We have this amazing, huge title and we getting paid like we entry level. And we don't even know it because we haven't tapped out to see the other companies are gonna pay us more for the same title, are going to pay us more for a lower title. I will be very, very transparent with you guys. When I was an HR director, I worked for a super small company. We had maybe 50 employees. We had quite a few part-times, quite a few contractors. So we ranged up to about 100. Even though contractors aren't employees, they treated them that way. Hence another reason I had to go. When I worked there, I was an HR director. The salary that I made there was less than what I made as a senior talent acquisition specialist. I'm telling you, people get hung up on titles, we get hung up on these jobs, we get hung up and married with these companies, and Charlie giving us pennies when there's so much more out there that we can get. We don't know. We've been there for 15, 20 years. We're used to what they're doing. So I have a few resources where I want to help you. I want to help you be able to make this change. One thing I love to do is figure out how I can help you guys with like a mental reset, because so many times this y'all in your own heads holding yourself back. I'm going to figure that out. But now I have some tangible resources you can use. So one thing I highly suggest is the Level Up Your Career ebook. And the Level Up Your Career ebook is one that really tells you how to not only find that job and start your career, but what you should do from day one to your first year anniversary. Level Up Your Career takes you through your whole first year anniversary so that at 3 months, you know what to do. At 6 months, you know what to do. At 9 months, you know what to do. At a year, you know what to do. It gives you different tools that you can use, like different checklists. It gives you the whole resume, anatomy. It gives you hashtags that you should use. It gives you tools you should use to make your resume so you're just not sitting out on Word and making a boring one. There's so many different things that you can use in the Level Up Your Career ebook. And so what I'm going to do is put the link to that down below, because that can absolutely help you when you are someone that either is trying to figure out when you should leave this company, or somebody that's been there for 15 to 20 years and a little lost on what to do when it's time to either leave that company or that industry. So I'll definitely leave that down below. If you join my email list, there is a discount code that you can use. It doesn't expire until the end of the year. So feel free to join my email list. I will absolutely put the link to join my email list down in the description box so that you can grab that code, and you can absolutely use that to get the Level Up Your Career ebook so that you can get out of this rut and into getting paid. So if this is your first time watching a Hey HR video, I thank you so much. I have been in HR for the last 11 years. I started my career as an HR assistant, grew up to HR director, and I currently sit happily as a global HR business partner for several different countries across the globe. And so I pride myself on the fact that I pushed that level, because child, I didn't want to do it. But I have a double master's degree in MBA as well as human resources management, and I have the highest level SHRM certification. I intend to feed you more and more information. I just passed my milestone of 300 uploads on YouTube, so there's tons of information there. If you're like, I need help, there's something else I need, I probably got a video that I've already made about it, but feel free to leave me a suggestion. If you found any value in this, please do me a favor and subscribe. For those of you who are returning, I hope that I enlightened you in some way so that you can take this career to the next level. At the end of the day, y'all already know I cannot wait to see you on the next video.